Hello, everybody who is tuning in. We're going to give a couple minutes for people to join while we retweet.
Let's see if I can go. Yeah, let me go retweet.
Yeah. Let's see. Hello, everybody. Hello. I look the same from this morning when I did a live stream. Hopefully, I looked better because I went to the store and I bought a brush because I forgot to pack a brush when I came here. So I didn't brush my hair.
Look great to me.
Thank you. Because I just bought a brush. I was like combing it. Yeah, anyways, it's a complicated life to be a woman.
Right.
But I still would much
I just,
be a woman.
Yeah, I just swoop my hair to the side.
Put some gel.
Yeah, easy stuff,
Okay, so I'm going to put topics for tonight. Hello, everyone who's joining our 3 viewers. Nice, beautiful. Okay, so tonight's topic, we are going to talk about DeFi, decentralized finance. We are going to talk about comp DeFi. Is it all? Should I type in comp in all caps, Chai?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then instead of crypto.com, I'm going to type in my crypto.com referral link because.
Good idea.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yep.
Hi, everybody. If you've seen this before, you know that we are going to talk about trading. Trading is a beautiful topic to talk about, especially if you're trying to make those gains.
Yeah.
So, let me, your channel. We are just waiting for some more people to join. I know that a lot of people are looking forward to this.
I might talk about some of the indicators more. I know I talked about them last week, but I'll talk about like RSI and what does it mean. That way people can use it properly.
Bitcoin charts, Ethereum chart or ETH charts, and is it ETH or is it ETH? I had someone come in the center the other day saying ETH. If you're
watching, ETH is fancy. So no, I don't know. I probably say either way, ETH or ETH, whatever floats your boat.
Okay. FOMO hunt or Ty?
Both, yeah.
TY. Okay, perfect. All right, guys, we are going to get started. So let me just retweet this bad boy. Cool. Okay. Welcome to our weekly Trading Tuesdays, where we teach people about just general information, but also trading and some charts. And so this is Ty. Ty, if you just want to do a quick explanation of who you are.
Sure. My name is Ty Blackard. I'm the COO of FOMOhunt.com. We are hopefully launching this month. It's a really cool platform. You'll see more promotions about it very soon on crypto Twitter. So check us out.
Hashtag crypto Twitter. So today we are going to be talking about some interesting topics, and then we are going to close it out with some chart reading. So first, we're going to talk about DeFi, decentralized finance. This is a very, very hot and interesting innovation that's happened with blockchain and the whole 2018 was or 17 was like ICO scams, but DeFi, I think this is along the lines of inclusion. So I really like DeFi. And then we are going to talk about compound finance, comp DeFi, and Ty has some interesting insights onto that. And then we are going to talk about crypto.com. So if you're interested in crypto.com, I'm going to post my link right now in the chat rooms, and you should definitely check them out because they are leading the way in terms of accessibility and adoption. They also, oh my God. They're spammers of the Bitcoin Center. Anyways, anyways, they actually took out a bunch of ads in Miami, and it's really funny because their ad says like the $22 trillion printer will never stop. And this was in January, and now it's 26 trillion. So those are out of date, guys. And then we're going to talk about Bitcoin charts, how the new PayPal/Venmo rumor is going to affect that, Ethereum or ETH, and then some Litecoin charts. So let's get started talking about DeFi. So Ty, do you just want to explain a little bit about what DeFi is?
Sure. So the biggest thing to know about DeFi is, first of all, what it stands for. It's just decentralized finance. And so what does that mean? Well, traditional finance or centralized finance is essentially what we have in the traditional banking system, where it's ridiculous trying to get your own bank account sometimes. Like I'm trying to get a new bank account right now, actually, and I have to go to a bank just to be able to open up my bank account. That's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
So accessibility is a problem tied to the moon. Thanks, Bagsy. So that's one problem, right? And then the other problem is like, are these all these financial tools that are normally offered in the traditional finance system, are they even accessible if you have an account with these banks? And so sometimes that answer is no.
Mm-hmm. And just a real quick plug, Ty. It's like I've always been confused as to why banks are open from 9 to 5 only, knowing that regular people, even if you have money, many of them work 9 to 5. So in order to go to the bank, you have to go during your lunch, and you completely waste your lunch. So yeah, traditional finance, centralized finance isn't even accessible to people with money sometimes. So
no, that's a good point.
yeah.
And so that's where decentralized finance really comes in and takes the cake, in my opinion. I just think that, so the accessibility is one big thing, but the next thing is that it actually makes more sense to use decentralized finance tools. And we'll talk about, more reasons why. But basically just get the idea that it is, there's a lot of times there's no third party in some of these protocols, or some of the way these, DeFi finance tools work. So there's no third party. There's no profiling that could occur. You're not going to, not have access to an account because you're, black, or because you're brown, or whatever color you might be, or if you have a different religion, whatever. It's not a problem. So that's the first thing that it solves. And then the financial tools in general with DeFinance are, I would argue they're actually much better than you could get in traditional finance. So that's a little bit of what DeFi is. And then there's a new term that's coming about. It's called yield farming. And it's one of my friends, actually, he just put his job title on LinkedIn as a yield farmer. And so this is a new term that's just popping up. And it's basically where these people will just go through all these different protocols in DeFi.
Okay.
And figure out which ones they can kind of combine to give them an ultimate staking or earning reward. And so it's becoming very popular. It's being wrote about a lot, lots of videos about it. So that's the basis.
So this is, let me just share my screen then, because you sent me this link beforehand about yield farming craze. Let's see. Here we go. Share. I'll also take this.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is this?
So this is, I think this is actually an article about comp.
Okay, comp.
Yes. And so I think this is kind of where, I'm sure the term's been around longer than this, but the term is probably making more highlights now because of comp, which is a big reason why comp has shot up to like 340, I think, a couple days ago.
Grown by 770 since its launch.
Yeah, that's pretty big. And so and I guess we could just dive into what comp is, and we'll touch on the TA as well, since we're already in the topic of discussion. So comp, basically, and this is, again, this is like the best understanding that I have right now. I wouldn't call myself an expert on this, but it is very interesting, and I would highly urge people to research it more. But essentially what I gather is, compound finance is taking a lot of these ERC20 tokens and is solving one of the biggest problems with these tokens, and that is reserving liquidity and creating some type of bigger liquidity pool, I guess, that is algorithmically determining yields based on supply and demand. So that sounds pretty like long and maybe too complicated, but it's really not. Based on like different assets, supply and demand, like if there's a lot of people supplying basic attention token, for example, I think that's one of the most staked assets. Let's see, 229 million in supply is being, I think basic attention token is actually the highest in terms of, oh, actually, no, sorry, Ether is.
Yeah.
So Ethereum and Basic Attention Token are the two top tokens that are staked, I'm assuming, for supply. And so based on that, there are determining yield rates for Basic Attention Token, and then it kind of also passes over the liquidity pool into other tokens as well. So yeah, that's what comp is on a very surface level. And I'm sure people could do a much better explanation than I can, but
it sounds like complicated math and algorithms that are probably used in traditional markets, but now they're translated into crypto. And also, it seems like kind of like high interest bearing accounts. So if all of these tokens on comp are ERC20 tokens, I assume, then they all are being staked. So you can kind of probably put ratios between who, like which ones yield the most depending on what's in there. So yeah, I mean, stuff like this is pretty exciting just to have I do believe that in markets, markets are priced at what someone is willing to buy a product for. Sometimes all of these like fancy trading algorithms, they kind of freak me out a little bit because I'm like, is this necessary, or does this actually add value, or are they just playing with the market? But regardless, it's been working in the traditional world. And if we want acceptance here, it needs to come this way. So yeah, DeFi for sure. Now let's talk about anything else on DeFi.
We'll probably get back into it later once we touch on it.
Okay. Let's talk about crypto.com. So I just want to show you guys a little video really fast because crypto.com came to the Blockchain Center during the North American Bitcoin Conference earlier this year. And they stopped screen. Oh, was I sharing my screen the whole time?
No.
Okay, good.
No, you're good.
All right. So I'm just going to show you guys a quick little video about when crypto.com was here.
Crypto.com has one of the most robust working ecosystems.
Oh, for sure. They have a bunch of different tokens, but this is an event at crypto.com that we had here at the Blockchain Center. Can you hear it?
No. But it looks great.
All right. Anyways, I was getting the crowd to say it's time for plan, and then they would say B, and then I would say it's time for plan, and they would say B, and then I'm like, the $22 trillion printer will never stop, which is their advertising. It's time for plan B. And it's interesting because, like I said in the intro, they have all of these ads taken out in Miami, and they don't it says the $22 trillion printer will never stop. And that was in January. And now we're at $26 trillion. So it's kind of out of date.
It's ridiculous. $4 trillion.
Yeah, it's super wild. So yeah, it is what it is. But crypto.com is definitely a great platform right now. They offer 0% purchases. So there's zero fees right now if you want to buy crypto using their platform. I mean, they have a quant trading algorithm inside of their app. They just released a cold storage app so you can hold your own private keys. Definitely they are doing a lot in terms of adoption. Yes.
And the biggest thing, so here's how I kind of look at things now. And I was actually just thinking about this earlier, and I won't go too off topic, but everybody's always saying that we need mass adoption. Mm-hmm. Right. We need mass adoption of Bitcoin. We need mass adoption of, just cryptocurrency in general. But what if we don't need to market to get that? What if it's just that we provide the products for people to, search for and exit out of the traditional finance system? Right. Mm-hmm. So what I mean by that is decentralized finance is essentially in this little sector of blockchain and cryptocurrency, it's creating this little area or sector of products that allow you to exit the traditional finance system. Mm-hmm. And it's a much better option. So instead of us just simply trying to, market to the world, I mean, you can obviously do this, but instead of us trying to market to the world, hey, you need to use this because we said so. Mm-hmm. I mean, what if the products just prove themselves? I mean, for instance, Bitcoin's a product. Bitcoin is an open source technology, but it's also an asset, and it's also a network that you can, build on. That's a really good product, right? And people will come to that technology just because of its value. Same thing is said for DeFi. People are going to come to these products not because they were marketed these products because somebody said to use it, but because they said, well, these traditional financial tools and whatnot are not giving me any return anymore. A savings account, you do that right now, you're going to be losing money on your inflation rate. So what's the point of using that, right? I'd rather take my money, stake it with a cryptocurrency that has the possibility of a high possibility of increasing in value over the next 1 to 2 years, especially with what we assume to be a big Bitcoin pump coming. With all those things being said, I would easily say, I want to go for decentralized finance rather than the traditional finance system. And it's not going to take much for me to convince me to do that. Any smart investor who's looking at the interest rate ratio, the variance, is going to say, yeah, this is a better option.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add that.
No, that's very important. I mean, with crypto, it's interesting because there are multiple platforms that give you high interest on your account. So it's like, one of them is Celsius. You do a stable coin with them, and I think their stable coin rates right now are at like 8 or 9%. Bitcoin rates 6%. It's the annual thing, but you get paid out weekly, and yeah, it's just really interesting to see because adjusted for inflation, your bank account, your savings account is giving you nothing. I remember I was like on a plane or something, and I saw in a magazine they were advertising, if you put your money in a CD for 2 years, we'll give you like 2%. And I was like, wow, that sucks. Like, yeah. I can make that in a morning in crypto. What are you talking about? Like, that's
exactly
great. And I don't even know how to read charts. I'm just like, it feels good. Like, let me sell. Yeah. Anyways, okay. So definitely, guys, check out crypto.com. I posted it in the chat room comments on YouTube. If you have not checked them out already, if you want to buy Bitcoin, they have a 0% fee right now. They also give you the ability to have a debit card that's hooked up to your wallet, so you can spend your crypto. I mean, crypto, like, it's really hard for me to talk about companies just because, like, I don't want to talk about companies that I haven't vetted, but they have a relationship with Visa, so obviously they're
pretty big.
Yeah, exactly. And they have this, I mean, their ecosystem is great. So
yeah, and we can talk about them more once we pull up their TA as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So they have like CRO, MCO, a couple different ways they interface, but it's interesting because some of them are like payment tokens. So yeah, let's get into the charts.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Bitcoin first?
Yes.
All right, Bitcoin charts. Let's go.
Okay, let's see y'all. Just let me know when you can see.
I got you. There you go.
All right, cool. So last week, I believe, and the week before that, we kind of reviewed some interesting information or some chart data that might give us an idea of when we should expect some kind of Bitcoin pump or even cryptocurrency pump in general. And so what we did was we used the second Bitcoin halving from the time that the Bitcoin halving took place to the time that it eclipsed the previous all-time high. That all-time high was somewhere around 1150 and 1,150 US dollars, and it took around 280 days. I think that sounds right. 280 days. Yeah, 280 days to actually eclipse the previous all-time high. So why is that important? Because that could also be overlaid on the third halving. And I want to get my little text out here. It's kind of pushed together here. So we know that the last Bitcoin halving was May 11th. And so Bitcoin's pretty much been going sideways for now. And I expected that to happen. I didn't think it was going to instantly go to the moon, so to speak. But we can get an idea or a time frame of when a possible move upwards could occur. I'm not expecting, and I say I'm not expecting, a dump from Bitcoin. I just think that the bears are exhausted, and I think that there's just I just think that there's not enough maybe reasons to dump it. Now, I could be totally wrong, but I think that the time frame and everything that's going on right now aligns with something like this. This is also this little blue area here. I pulled this from the previous Bitcoin halving just to show what it would look like if it was overlaid here. So basically what we have is, let me just put this back. This little red line here is our possible PayPal/Venmo crypto integration. And if you didn't hear the news or the rumor about this, I mean, you can call it a rumor, but I mean, PayPal is hiring a bunch of blockchain research and engineers and analysts that would definitely be needed to be able to bring crypto integration to PayPal and Venmo. So I think the rumor has more truth in it than not.
For sure.
Yeah, and so the time frame that we'd be looking at for that to take place would be sometime around September if the article from CoinDesk was correct. They said it was about 3 months out. That's what they said. I'll take their word for it, even though I think they actually were hiring back in 2019 or 2018. I can't remember exactly the year when they started hiring for it, but they have been obviously working in that sector. That's for sure. So that's the time frame that we're expecting to see this integration, and it perfectly aligns with a move up from that period to the next level, which is our $19,000 to almost $20,000 marker. Combined with the fact that, we talked about this last week, you have, of course, the Fed still printing off money, now getting into individual corporate bonds.
Yeah, seriously.
There might, down the road, we might see something in the housing market. It wouldn't surprise me, especially with the fact that now, people, I think there's a large percentage of people who aren't even able to pay their rent for obvious reasons. I
heard there's like 50% or something of house owners are trying to now sell their homes. That can't be right, but maybe.
I saw something around there. I think it was like 30 or 50%, something like that. I know there's a lot of people selling their homes in like the riot areas, specifically, trying to get out of the cities,
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely going to be an interesting housing, maybe not crisis, but obviously recession, which could also attribute to, more reasons for people to just start taking a look at options outside of the traditional finance system. And after you start seeing Bitcoin eclipse like 13K, at that point, people are going to be like, it's going to start clicking in their head again. Hey, wait a minute, Bitcoin's still around. We should probably look into it.
Yeah. Watch out, guys. When CNBC starts telling you to buy, better be careful.
Right. They'll probably be showing it at 100K. That's when you sell.
Exactly. The thing about, with the whole thing about the PayPal Venmo situation is that they have 325 million users, right?
Yes.
PayPal, and one thing that's important to note is that Bitcoin is a payment network, and they're also the unit of account that's transferred. PayPal has always been a fiat rail, but PayPal's not money. It's just a technology that helps you exchange PayPal. Now, PayPal does have a history of censoring transactions from people, and for whatever reason, not saying they're right or wrong, but they do censor transactions. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when they do accept Bitcoin, because I know that Robinhood started offering Bitcoin in, I think, 2018. The direct competitor of PayPal/Venmo, Cash App. I'm a huge fan of Cash App because I don't use Venmo at all, just because I'm like, Cash App offers Bitcoin. Like, I'm loyal.
Right. Yeah, same.
They made, what was it? They made
a lot of money.
$306 million in Bitcoin revenue in their most recent earnings report, and they started accepting Bitcoin on their platform in mid-2018 as well. So, of course, like, PayPal might not have wanted to adopt, but they did because they had to, because they see the profit there. But it's definitely important to still take your coins off of your PayPal account once they allow you to. I think if they don't allow you to remove it to your own wallet, that's probably
leave it to the normies. Yeah, it's like Robinhood. Like, leave all the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin on Robinhood to the normies. Let them buy it up, and see what happens after that. But
Exactly.
it's interesting because, like you were saying, PayPal and Venmo, it's a right now it's a fiat gateway, and it facilitates many transactions across the world.
Mm-hmm.
If crypto integration, does come to PayPal and Venmo, essentially what you've done is you have opened the ecosystem of cryptocurrency. Even if they just use Bitcoin, let's say that they only bring on Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, and maybe Litecoin.
Mm-hmm.
But even with any of those three, you're still opening 325 million customers to a decentralized ecosystem, which DeFi is already getting big with the ecosystem of crypto people we have now, and they're not even normies, right? They're people who just like using the crypto ecosystem because they know that the traditional finance ecosystem is just not working for them. Once normies figure that out,
yeah. Continue. Sorry.
No, yeah. I mean, once normies figure that out, I mean, game over. At that point, that's right here, the little red line. When that happens, it's over.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, no, you're right. And what's interesting too is I don't really agree with the sentiment, but so many people are telling me it. I don't agree with it, but they're saying that the reason why the S&P 500 is going up so much is because Robinhood and all of these like smaller apps allowed for fractional reserve buying. So I guess what do they call it? Retail customers could come in and buy. Now, I don't believe that. Could be true as the reason why the S&P 500 is growing, but I think it's because exactly. No way.
No, they don't got enough money for that. It's the reason the S&P 500 is going up is because of Uncle Sam.
Exactly.
So,
and what's interesting is like, just not to rant about this too much, but it's like corporate buybacks. Companies get these PPP loans or whatever loans are coming out, and the first thing they do is they buy their own stock. This is documented. Now you have the Federal Reserve coming out and saying that I'm going to buy stocks. We're going to buy stocks, but your stock has to be a certain amount, meaning that only big companies are going to get money funnel into them, which is why you see overall this growth. And then the last thing is that you see that it just doesn't make any sense. There's 40 million people plus who have applied for unemployment. Now that number is definitely bigger because you have all these, in terms of people that are living off the government, because you have all of these companies that received PPP money. And so they're not technically filing for unemployment. They're employees because their employer is paying them because the government gave them money to pay them. So unemployment is really high, crazy high right now. The S&P 500, that is not reality. So this is why we like DeFi.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what it is it's an ecosystem of fake money. It's an ecosystem of fake value rather. And yeah, I mean, so you see there's printed money that's just pumped into the stock markets. All the retail buyers, they start coming in over time. I mean, if they think that this is going to go on forever, I don't know what to tell you, because at some point they're going to stop printing money and pumping it and let it collapse, and it's going to hurt.
Well, what I've heard is I read this actually years ago almost, and I read Jim Rickards, and I get his mailing list, and he says stuff about the price of gold going up to $10,000 a coin, and then we're going to $10,000 an ounce, and then that would essentially reset the debt. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's just a theory. I can't think of how we're going to reset. If people,
I have no idea. I think there's going to eventually be a reset, and it's not going to be just the U.S. It's going to be worldwide, because I mean, every economy, every currency is all just getting inflated to kingdom come. It's not like one is out here doing better than the other. They're all equally bad.
Yeah, so, Japan, 250% debt to GDP ratio, things like that. Wild.
And people think that China's out of the loop as well, but they're just as bad. I mean, they're printing off money as well. That's why they're introducing the DCEP.
Yeah, they already had a digital currency, man. But so definitely, okay, so this blue line is this possible PayPal Venmo integration. According to the CoinDesk article, it does say that they would roll out the product in about 3 months. I do think that it's real, even though PayPal declined to comment.
I think it's real, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely real. And maybe this is also why we saw yesterday the price pumped, I think, almost 4%. And I think the reason why is because this news. I'm excited, but I do want to make sure that people, take not your keys, not your crypto. Very important to hold your private keys. Like Block Tech says here, if you take your coins out of Coinbase, they will deplatform you. So be very careful where you buy.
I agree. So I want to show you this, just a closer look on the daily. This is, again, Brave Liquid Index. So
Okay.
how updated is this? So it's not updated for today, but that's okay. We have the candle for yesterday. So basically, it's not a whole lot of action going on for the daily. It's pretty simple stuff here. It's just a sort of a sideways movement. Your floor here is probably going to be somewhere around like 8,600 US dollars. I don't see it touching below here for a while. I think we'll just kind of keep going sideways. Even if this does break down, I think we'll just probably stay above 8,600 for now. Unless something crazy changes, like another Black Thursday, which in case I'm just going to throw something at the wall. But assuming that doesn't happen, I think we stay sideways for a little bit until we get to a point which, oddly enough, this little red line here, again, this is PayPal and crypto, or the PayPal and Venmo integration. I think if we go sideways to this point, it could be really, really nice. And we make our way above this trend line here, which is, I'll go back and just so you can everybody see this. This black trend line here is kind of like an overall forming wedge that eventually we're going to have to break. Now, to TA, obviously, you can choose one of two options. Okay, we break to the downside. Okay, that means you're pretty bearish on the asset long term, especially in the weekly. Mm-hmm. But obviously, if you break to the upside, it means you're pretty bullish on the asset. And I don't think there's any way we could break to the downside. So, process of elimination, we think it's just going to keep going sideways until it eventually goes up here. So that's the
February 2021 was your prediction for the new.
Yeah, February 2021 is here. I'll go back out. That's our date back here, the green line here. That's when we're assuming that, we're probably going to see something like, I don't know, I'm just going to draw it here. Something like that. And this is obviously like around this time would put us, I could draw it, extend it, but it would put us somewhere up here, which is around that $20,000 marker, which would, of course, help us break the previous all-time high.
For sure.
So that's Bitcoin. Now we'll just move on to, I got like 4 more charts to go through. So
let's do it. Yeah.
Cool.
I'll stop commenting.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm talking too much. All right. So we're also going to look at RSI. I'm going to explain what RSI is, but I first want to show you guys these two little lines here and what they mean. So this is what you would call a range. So a range of prices that has a consistent all-time low or a low, and a consistent resistance or high. Now, you can actually see when Ethereum really made its explosion back in November of 2017, it eclipsed this big psychological resistance at 280, somewhere probably between 280 290. But 280 seems to be a pretty very important zone. So once it eclipsed that, it pretty much went up, and I could tell you exactly how much it went up by 385%. That's pretty big. Mm-hmm. So now at the bottom here, you can also see that we have some lows as well. We touch here, and there's a possibility based on the TA that I'm about to show you that we retouched $88 before what I have here is open the floodgates, which is our February 2021 Bitcoin date. At that point, open the floodgates. So, but I'll show you why I think that we could see some type of some downtrend.
So if Bitcoin breaks 20K before February 20 or before my birthday, which is February 20th, mm-hmm. I'm gonna be like, yo, you guys, you gotta send me some Bitcoin.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. And then they won't even know it. They won't even expect it. All right. So the next thing, and I'll just go ahead and put this aside. So we have what's forming. This could be like the local top. Not sure yet, but it's kind of shaping up to be that way. Mm-hmm. Now, if we wanted more confirmation, sort of, you could say, you might get one more good pump, maybe not, maybe it just rounds off at the top here because there's not enough momentum. And then the RSI would downtrend to, and let me explain what the RSI does and what you're seeing here. So I'll make this bigger. So basically, anytime you're above this purple zone here, that is what is considered overbought. So we go back here and you see like this up here, this is $1,370. That is right here as well. So this is really overbought. And I couldn't tell you exactly how the RSI indicator actually functions. Have no idea. But what's important is how you use it. So then the other thing that here is our low of $92 is also marked here as well. So this is oversold. So anything above the purple area, overbought. Anything below, oversold. And at those oversold and overbought regions, typically, if it's overbought, go ahead and sell. Makes the most sense to do so. If you saw that up here, I mean, if you saw that anywhere up here, really, you might say, okay, this is too ridiculous. Let me go ahead and sell. Same thing goes for this area here. I mean, this is overbought. You saw a collapse down to 142 from 400. So pretty easy to figure out like what the RSI is saying. So what I think could happen is I think with Ethereum, you could go a little farther up, maybe to 285 again. But I think we're still going to trade in this range and we'll revisit. RSI will not drop as low as this one here, I don't think. I think it'll probably get somewhere down here to the 37, if you can see on here, the right side, 37.40 on the RSI. That would be our like low, assuming it does come down to 88 or around that area. So for Ethereum, I would just kind of wait if I was interested in purchasing more. I don't think that there's any reason. I mean, especially now Ethereum 2.0 is not coming out anytime soon. Apparently, I haven't heard anything about that recently. Mm-hmm. For those who are wondering what Ethereum 2.0 is, it's if I'm not mistaken, it's a software upgrade for the Ethereum blockchain, which has been coming out for a long time. It has not done yet. So I would say if you're interested in purchasing Ethereum, maybe wait, see what happens, see if you can purchase at a lower price, maybe somewhere around 90 to 100, because right now it's at 242. I could be totally wrong about this, and it could just keep
climbing as Bitcoin climbs.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin's going to continue to trade sideways. I don't know how Ethereum is going to react with that trading sideways movement. I think it's possible it just gets, over, or it's just possible people can just get tired of it and they just start looking at other assets like the DeFi assets, start throwing their Ethereum in different directions. But it's possible it could just stay above $200 and just trade sideways. So either way, I would say maybe wait, see what happens. You're not running out of time, I don't think. So that's Ethereum. Cool. And now let's go ahead and actually I'll leave that up. Go to Litecoin.
Where's our Litecoin buddy, John?
I was just thinking about him.
To you, man.
Yeah,
so, I met him in Philadelphia at Coinvention, and he was on stage talking about Jesus. And I was like, dude, I like that guy. And
awesome.
Then he was Asian, and I was like, yo, like there's not a lot of Asians around. So yeah, he's definitely, shout out to you, John, if you're watching. John. Yeah,
two good qualities. All right, awesome. Yeah, John's super smart too. A lot of really great insight in a lot of different topics. So definitely when he's talking about Litecoin, he's talking from the heart, and he knows his stuff. Mm-hmm. So going to Litecoin, again, we talked about this, I think, last week with the halving and how much time it was going to take from the halving. And I think this is actually the Bitcoin halving. Yeah, May 11th. And how much time it was going to take for the actual period of time to collapse for February 2021, around that time frame where we expect Bitcoin to climb. So I probably need to remove this one. I think this is from the previous Litecoin halving, so I don't need that one anymore. Skirt. You didn't see that. So basically, yeah. But basically what we have now, and I'm using some MAs for this to tell me this information. And it's pretty easy to see if you're just using price action. But what I'm seeing here is we have over here you have the 50 MA, which is the blue line, and then the 100 MA. These are called moving averages, and I guess I could explain what moving averages are again for anybody who's new. Moving averages are essentially like it's whatever the closing price is of the candle, and of course you're looking at these little candlesticks here. They each have a closing price. Whatever the closing price is, with I think it's just the average of those prices over a period of time. So for instance, we're in the weekly, so it's going to give us a per weekly average, a moving average, using these lines. So
moving average is the average of the closing price of the candles.
Yes, best way to put it. So it's helpful to tell us important information like when we could expect more bearish continuation. Like some people could say, okay, this point right here at $24, Litecoin is just going to shoot from here and go to the moon, right? But what we're seeing from the moving averages is that the 50 is crossing over the 100, and I'll go closer so you can see this. So the blue line here, 50 MA, is crossing over the 100. Now that's not a good thing. What that means is we should expect more bearish continuation, and this is on the weekly, which also gives it more validation because the higher time frames you go where these things occur, where these indicators cross over, gives you a much higher probability of it occurring, right? So, but you could see that. I mean, you can see with the price action here. I mean, you can see we're forming this wedge all the way down to this point, which is where I drew this line here to kind of give us, an idea of what might happen, especially with this little low down here. So what's likely to happen for Litecoin is a third touch on this floor or strong support here at $28, $29, and then make its way back up at the same time as the Bitcoin, as Bitcoin as well. And that's right around this little area here, which is February 2021. So
you're saying the floor for Litecoin is $20, $25?
$29 around there. I mean, anything below that, and this is actually a real floor, if you want to call it that, like 1381. I don't think there's any way that it drops below 29. Again, could be totally wrong, but I just don't see anything that would happen between now and February 2021 that would indicate Litecoin drops below $29. I just think that that's where its value is. It's somewhere above that price.
Yeah, that's important to know, guys. This is not financial advice.
Right. I could be totally wrong. I could be making stuff up, as I go along. But this is what I'm seeing on the charts, and this is what the indicators are telling me. So I'm just trying to interpret it. It's kind of like no, actually, I probably shouldn't make that comparison. A lot of people say it's like astrology, but some people get mad at that comparison.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so we're gonna move on from Litecoin to MCO.
MCO. So MCO is the native token for crypto.com. And what's interesting about that is that if you stake a certain level of MCO and you in crypto.com's wallet, they will give you a card, like a certain tier of card where you'll get like 2% cash back on all your purchases. You'll get like your Netflix paid for, your Spotify paid for, your like Amazon Prime paid for. So they have these different tiers if you are a person that stakes MCO, which staking MCO really goes into the idea of DeFi to where people can, use their assets to, like in staking, it's like you're using the coins you have in order to verify a system and you get rewarded for holding them instead of, spending. So also, high time preference, low time preference, just a lot of economics that really haven't been into play in the traditional finance market and in like traditional centralized banking. So I'm excited to see what this does for all the young people. But anyways. No,
I agree. Great commentary. So what we're going to look at here, so MCO is not exactly that old. It's not obviously like your Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. So now you're on a you're on a much smaller playing field as far as history goes, or price history. And so that's important because we want to know, where are these support levels? Where are the resistance levels for this particular coin? What is its value, or where is its value right now? So as we were speaking about earlier, what's going to happen, and I've said this last week as well, we both said it, Bitcoin is going to essentially be like the funding mechanism for a lot of these altcoins to start really taking off. So for example, what's probably going to happen is, of course, Bitcoin goes up because there's going to be an impending supply shock, which of course is, relative to a demand shock, because if there is low supply, there's also going to be a run on demand. So we expect that to happen. It's going to happen. That's why we also said that it was, sometime around February 2021. That's probably going to be like the minimum time frame where we see a lot of Bitcoin movement, or an eclipse of the all-time high. So with that being said, we expect a lot of the profits from Bitcoin to flow into altcoins, especially decentralized finance altcoins, because they have entire ecosystems where not only can you invest in those coins, but you can also earn interest on them. So if I'm an investor and I say, okay, well, what's going to give me the best opportunity to make the most amount of money? I could buy an altcoin from the ICO era and expect it to, and maybe the company's still good. I could throw my money there and maybe make the difference from the previous all-time high in the ICO era, 2017, 2018. And that's like option A, right? Option B is looking at a lot of these decentralized finance companies and projects and saying, okay, not only can I invest in this company that's very young, by the way, like I said, we just talked about that, but I could also earn interest, or stake my coins that I'm going to hold anyways, and make more money off that. So option A, option B, seems like option B might make more sense, especially for the new crowd, which is going to be very exposed to the DeFi ecosystem, especially because of all the yield farmers that are now popping up. People are specializing in decentralized finance, and they're going to be able to make the onboarding of these ecosystems much easier than it is today. So with all that being said, what does that mean for MCO? Well, MCO, otherwise, this is actually the first token that Monaco, now known as Crypto.com, created, and they wanted to use for their ecosystem as a utility token. And so it doesn't have a whole lot of history for us, but we do have a selected range that might give us an idea of when are the best points to buy. And then if we're looking at a price at $6, for example, in the near future before Bitcoin starts pumping, then you could possibly say, this might be a better time to sell. Now, of course, we're looking at DeFi. So with DeFi, you probably just want to stake anyways, which is good, because it means that if you're staking your tokens, you're providing liquidity, and that's one of the most important things in cryptocurrency. So
definitely, yeah. And then plus too, just the mindset, just to get into the economics of it just a little bit. But the mindset of people that are thinking that it's high time preference versus low time preference, right? The mindset of people who are thinking, like, if I save my money and I spend it frugally, save for a rainy day, how different are their spending habits than someone who, or they stake it because they understand that it will earn them more money, and you're rewarded for saving. The United States is actually one of the few countries in the world, I feel like, that does not reward people for saving. They almost actually penalize you. I think we can, yeah. So there's a problem with that. And then, like, right now, if everybody knows that, guess what, my dollars are devaluing because the Federal Reserve is printing so much money, they're going to just spend it quickly and on things that are not necessary. So it's really important to take psychology into mind. And I do think that DeFi is going to take off.
I agree 100%. So what we're looking at here now, and I'm going to take the RSI out of the picture, is, so this is our big range that we've spent a lot of time in, but there's kind of like a second phase here, and I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know how strong, because again, we have a very short amount of price history on MCO, so I'm not exactly sure how this will play out. But here's the scenarios we have. So we could say that, we will continue down this path. RSI is turning down. So that means that it's becoming more oversold as time goes on. And then we also have this very important range here with $4.60. So we can see in the past, it has tried to either breach this level, and then when it wasn't able to do so, it collapsed. And so now we had a build up. It easily surpassed this level back in 2019 of May. I think that was actually when the when Bitcoin was going up. And then of course, there's this big wick here, but it's all below this price. And then of course, for a while, again, trying to make your way back up. And then finally we do, and then we're kind of at this point. But either way, this is the range that it wants to stay in. And I say it wants to, but I say it should be the investors want to stay in this range. This is comfortable for the investors. With that being said, it is possible that a break below $4.60 does occur. And you can probably bet on that if I have two MAs here now, and I'm using the 9 and the 21. The 9 MA is the orange one here, and the blue MA is the 21. So, and you can use smaller MAs for smaller charts, and that's what we're doing here because we have a smaller amount of price history. So if we saw that the orange, the 9 MA passed over the blue one, then we could essentially say that this is probably going to be bearish continuum, and we should expect some type of drop below 460. Now, with that being said, where does it go now? Mm-hmm. What's the next resting place? You could probably say like $4.30. You could say $3.73. And after that, you could say $2.77. I don't think it goes lower than $4.30, around that range. That's just my best guess. But yeah, I mean, again, the whole purpose of MCO in general is to hold these tokens, which takes them off the market, assuming that, I think people are also looking at opportunities of getting MCO, especially with the DeFi yield farming becoming so popular. So we could assume it may stay above 460, but we're not sure. So that's MCO.
Yeah, so set your guys' price reminders when you download the crypto.com app, which the link is in the Twitter or link is in the YouTube. Set your price reminders for that and buy at $4. But this is not financial advice. However, I personally see MCO becoming like a BNB, which is just a native token for a platform that people will use because it offers you certain rewards. And it's really not necessarily that they're going to use it, but they're going to hold it and they're going to own it, and it's going to become valuable.
Agreed. So we're looking at comp now. And this is actually, it's funny. So it was up here when I drew all these lines right above my little trend line here and above the green line. And since the stream has started, it has dropped down to, and this is on the hourly, by the way, down to 230. And I think just a couple of days ago, it was like sitting at 380, 345. So what we have here is we have a very interesting DeFi project / company, but we also have a run on this asset. But what we could also be looking at here, this is a no-no. So this is what is called a double top. Okay, and you probably see it better if you look at the 4-hour. So why is a double top bad? Well, it means that the price has been tested at certain levels, which I think it's right around 380 twice, and not a too far of a time span, but enough to create this double top trend. Now, with that being said, this also could be like an inverted HNS, which is inverted head and shoulders. I won't show you that today, maybe next week. But what could be happening is a run up to 380, a double test here to create to form a double top, which again is bad, and then a dump, which is what we saw here, from 345 all the way down to 246. It's about a 30% drop. And then maybe what could also be happening is another leg down here to 200. So it's possible that this asset is overvalued. It's good nonetheless, but it could be overvalued in these ranges. I mean, it's a very young asset for the most part. So, and this is on FTX. I think this is one of the oldest. I could be totally wrong, but one of the oldest exchanges that hosts it. So this is probably the best price history I could get on it. But what could be happening again is, like I said, coming down, from its overvalued status. Now, this RSI is not that old either, so it doesn't really show us too much price history. It definitely was overvalued over here at 380 or 340, 50. And it sort of was here at 340, 350. So it could be that price is a little bit too much for it right now, which is great for investors who want to get into comp, especially because it's kind of popping right now. And it's kind of like spurring the term yield farming. But what I think is likely to happen, just based on this chart alone, I think we could come back down to like 200, 205. Yeah, based on what I'm seeing here. So it's possible. If you're looking to get into comp, maybe wait, see what happens. Now, this could also be a nice support for it at 230. It's been here before, and it seems to be a pretty decent resistance in the past. So between 230 and 205, that's where I would be placing bids, and I probably will be placing bids. But anything above that, it might be overvalued or overpriced for now.
Cool. Well, Ty, next time you're going to have to teach us what a Head and Shoulders is, because I hear it a lot. But
yeah, I will. I'll draw it beforehand. Okay. That way it doesn't look bad. And it'll probably, and honestly, it might play out here because it seems that that's what it looks like. So what you have here is like you have this head right here in the middle, and it might look better on the hourly. You have the head here, you have a shoulder here, like a triangle formed here, and you also have the same thing here. It's like a shoulder here. And so what that means is that your top is going to be where my mouse is, where this trend line is, and then it's going to return to normal, return to a means, which the means seems to be somewhere in this range. That's why I say it'll probably come down to 205 or around this area.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's super interesting. Let's see. We will check next week to see if you're correct.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. So we covered DeFi, compound finance, comp DeFi, crypto.com, Bitcoin charts, including PayPal and Venmo, Ethereum charts, Litecoin charts, and then some MCO and comp price predictions. So thank you very much, Ty, for that.
You're welcome. That was a lot.
No, that was good. And I like to like keep it under an hour just because, you gotta be predictable. So thank you everybody for watching, and you're going to have to join us next time as Ty teaches us what Head and Shoulders is and draws a great picture beforehand.
Yeah.
And definitely we'll be covering the same topics of just chart reading. We'll start off with some recent news, and hopefully everybody goes to the moon together.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Bye, guys.